All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for this panel on the Creative Careers Fall Mentorship Program. My name is Eilish Russell. I am the Associate Director of Career Advising at Art Center, and I am the person who facilitates the mentorship program in its full cycle. So I'm very excited to chat about it today. It's one of my favorite things that we do as a team, and something that I think is a really wonderful benefit for our whole community. So we are going to be recording this session, and the recording will be available on our YouTube channel. So if you want to watch anything back, it will be sent out to everybody who's in attendance today. You're also welcome to forward it to a peer at Art Center if maybe they missed it and you think that they would benefit from this. We're really excited. So I'm going to run through the scope of the program first, talk a little bit about what we expect from applicants and how we go about kind of facilitating the program itself. We will then open things up to our two previous mentees who are joining us today to talk about their experiences. I'm so grateful that they're here today to share how they feel about the program and any advice and tips that they have for all of you. And then we'll go into any questions that folks have that maybe we haven't touched on previously. And then that'll be us for today. So thanks everybody for joining us. So, what is the mentorship program? It is a yearly application-based opportunity that thoughtfully pairs Art Center students with established creative professionals for 10 weeks of mentorship. This is a program that consistently happens at the same time every year. And again, of course, it is a very formal mentorship experience. So you are completing an application that requires a few different steps worth of work and answering some open-ended questions. We are going through a formal pairing process, and then there are expectations for the engagement that you have with your mentor from the onset of the program to the end, if you are accepted into the program itself. I'll talk a little bit more at the end about opportunities for less formal mentorship, but I want everybody to think about this as a really formal mentorship experience where there are quite a few expectations for engagement in order for everybody to get the most out of the experience that they can. So, some program basics. It runs every fall term. So we start application phase now, and it will begin the first week of the fall term, every fall term. And applications are going to be due by June 15th. So that's the Monday of week 5. Students must apply and be accepted to participate. So we do, again, have that formal application process, and we do request that you complete the full application in order to be considered. And applications are open to all enrolled Art Center students, whether you're undergraduate or graduate. You can be graduating or taking an off term. You, for example, be on an LOA in order to participate in the program, but we do ask that you be an enrolled student. Pairs are thoughtfully matched, again, based on goals of applicants and based on the preferences that are provided in application. So we'll talk through the application in a minute, but one of the things that we ask you is to tell us a little bit about your ideal mentor. And we do thoughtfully match you based on those details that you provide. And most importantly, the mentorship program is neither a class nor an internship. So this is not something that you will get academic credit for. It's not something that you can list as an internship or receive a for-credit internship experience for. It is a volunteer experience for both students and mentors. As I mentioned, we do have expectation that students take it seriously as part of their professional development experience at Art Center, but it is a volunteer experience for all parties involved. Now, the mentorship program includes both one-on-one and group experiences so that we can support every student meaningfully. This means that if you're accepted into the program, you may have either a one-on-one mentorship pairing or a group mentorship pairing where you are matched with a mentor that is also supporting one or two other students. Each format is going to offer its unique benefits, and we're very confident that you're going to gain valuable guidance and connections and professional development learning opportunities in whichever setting you're going to be placed. This is something that we do in order to effectively scale the program and offer the opportunity to as many students as possible. So it's something that we're confident that you will be able to experience meaningfully the same way that you would with a one-on-one mentorship pairing. So why should you apply if you're thinking about it? Of course, it's 10 weeks of creative professional mentorship within your desired creative industry. This is something that we know from research and data is a very strong indicator of professional development opportunity for students. Mentorship is very meaningful in terms of developing connections outside of your immediate creative community at Art Center, in terms of building and developing confidence, better understanding yourself as a creative, and even identifying pathways and opportunities that you maybe had not considered previously as something that you would consider. So it's a great way to get unique exposure in your desired field. It's a great way to find industry guidance and feedback and discussion about your work, your goals, and your professional materials. It's a way to gain invaluable insight into your career path and the potential opportunities that are available to you. And it's an opportunity to build those new professional development skills and grow your confidence. So, this is a bit of an overview of the process. Complete the application by summer of week 5. Step number 1, right? The application is a little bit involved, so we do recommend that you take some time to review it, consider your responses, and not plan to complete it in 15 minutes in the last moment. But once you complete your mentorship application, again, Monday of week 5, you're going to receive an acceptance notification. You'll then be matched with your mentor in late summer or beginning of break between the summer and the fall term. You are going to attend a mentorship orientation. This will be an asynchronous module that you'll be sent directly and that you can engage with at your own time. And then you will meet your mentor and begin your 10-week mentorship experience. Please note that it is a requirement that you attend or complete your orientation before you're matched with your mentor. If you do not attend it, you will not be matched with your mentor. This is something that, again, is designed to help you engage with the program in its most effective state. So it's very, very important that you understand that this is a requirement in order for you to participate. So let's talk a little bit through the application itself. We require a few different pieces here. First and foremost, a resume and a portfolio website. These are items that we review. We do not kind of review them from the same perspective that, for example, an internship application would be reviewing these materials. We just want to see what you currently have in terms of development of your professional materials and kind of where you are in that process. So you will be asked to submit a resume and a portfolio website. And then we have a series of essay questions that we'll talk about in a second, and then we'll share your mentorship preferences. So the questions that you will be asked are, in 100 words or less, provide a professional bio or artist statement, which is how we're going to introduce you to your mentor. This is something that many of you will have already developed as part of a course assignment or in order to create a portfolio website yourselves. But if you haven't done so already, we have resources for developing these things already existing on our website. Our second question is, tell us a little bit more about yourself. What are your personal and professional interests? What type of work do you like to do? What types of art and design experiences have you already had? They could be in your field or in another field. We would like to get a kind of holistic and well-rounded picture of you and all of the aspects of your experiences and background that have contributed to making you the creative that you are today. Our next question is, what are your goals for the mentorship program? How do you envision the program benefiting your growth and development as an artist or designer? And talk about the traits and the skills that your ideal mentor will have that can help you grow and develop. This is a very important question because we really want folks to consider specific goals and accomplishments that they would like to make or work towards throughout the program. The more specific your goals are, the more likely it is that you will be accepted into the program. So I would say think very, very reflectively about what you would like to achieve in the program and how this program will uniquely help you achieve that goal, and kind of iterate on that as you're going through the process. And then finally, and this is kind of related to this question, what gaps do you perceive in your professional development, and how do you feel the mentorship program might help you address those gaps? So very much related, think very reflectively about the gaps that you have identified. These could be gaps in the coursework at Art Center. They could be gaps in terms of your comfort level or what you have access to as a student. And how do you see the mentorship program addressing those gaps? Again, the more specific you're able to get, the better, because we only know what you're submitting to us in your application. So the more details, the better picture we're able to develop. So again, you're going to kind of write out those short answer essay questions in full. You're going to submit all of those. And then we're going to ask you to submit your mentor preferences. So this will include 3 to 5 companies where your mentor might work, about 5 professionals whose experience would be your ideal mentor, the types of specialties, skill sets, and responsibilities that they would have within their organization, and then the ways that you would like to engage with your mentor. So via email, via phone, on Zoom, or in person. All of this helps us to develop an idea of the type of person that's the best fit for you, and if that's something that we can accomplish in this mentorship program, so that if you're accepted, we can match you most effectively. Let's talk about each of these a little bit more in depth before we move forward to our next slide and our next topic. So the 3 to 5 companies where your mentor might work could be the 3 to 5 companies that you would most love to work in yourself. It could also be based on the types of experiences that you know you would love to learn from, even if maybe you don't see yourself working at that company itself. The approximately 5 professionals who would be your ideal mentor should be people who are maybe 3 to 7 or 3 to 10 years out from graduating from their own art and design program, who have established themselves in the field. This shouldn't necessarily be somebody who is the CEO of a company or the head of their division or something like that. It should be somebody who is able to provide you with the information and the guidance needed to achieve the goals that you have already identified. So what we're asking here is not necessarily who's your favorite artist in your industry, but who is somebody whose experience is going to be the most effective for you to learn from. So again, we really want to think in depth based on my goals, who is going to be the type of person that is most effective to find this information or to receive this guidance. A great place to start looking at professionals who might be an ideal mentor for you are on the Art Center LinkedIn page under the Alumni tab, or on the Preferred Companies LinkedIn pages under their People's tab, which includes a list of current employees who are working at that company. In terms of specialties, skill sets, and responsibilities your mentor would have, we want to think critically about the types of positions that we would like to be in, and not just technical skills, but self-management and soft skills, like maybe they have very strong leadership capabilities, or they are very organized, or they are excellent at teamwork, and that's something that you would love to learn from them through. And then, of course, the ways that you would like to engage with your mentor are going to be very important. If you know that you are going to be in full-time enrolled courses for the fall term? And do you think it's going to be most effective for you to meet with a mentor virtually rather than in person? We definitely want to know that so that we can set you up best for success. Rather than saying, I would love to meet in person, I definitely want to meet in person. If you know that maybe that won't work well with your schedule, we'd like to plan in advance for you to maybe meet with a mentor virtually or have email check ins or something along those lines, again, so that everybody can get the most out of their experience. So, the experience itself. In week 1, of the fall term, after you meet and are introduced to your mentor, this is going to be kind of like your meet and greet week. This is going to be where you talk to your mentor for the first time, you introduce yourself, you're going to share with them a little bit more detail about your goals for the program and kind of what you would like to learn from them. And it's going to be their opportunity to tell you a little bit more about themselves. This is going to be where you take those goals that you identified in your application and refine them with your mentor for something that you kind of will be reasonably able to achieve over those 10 weeks based on their skill set. So, for example, let's say you come in with 5 goals that you would really like to achieve. And in that first meet and greet in week 1, you might refine those 4 or 5 goals down into 3 with a specific structure that you hope to achieve over the course of that 10-week program. You're going to be working towards feedback and critique. This could be feedback specifically on your portfolio website. It could be on all of your professional materials on the whole. It could be critique over a specific project that you would love feedback on or that you want to work towards. Again, these are going to be things that you are developing and identifying with your mentor based on your shared availability and the unique goals and experiences that you want to have in the program. And of course, industry insight. So this can look like, for example, how do I network in my industry? What recommendations do you have for breaking into this specific area? How do you recommend I approach trying to work abroad or in another country in the future? This industry insight piece is going to be, again, very unique to each individual mentorship pair and the program that you're taking part in. Now, it's very, very important to remember here that professionalism, as it relates to the mentorship program, is a two-way street, right? We expect that you approach your mentorship experience professionally, and we also expect that your mentor approaches their professional experience or their mentorship experience from a professional perspective as well. So what does this mean? First and foremost, we expect that you complete all of the required aspects of this program, which will be described to you once you're accepted um, by the deadlines that they're established. If you do not meet the deadlines that are expected of you for the different aspects or touch points of this program, that is something that we factor into how much access you have to Creative Careers programming moving forward, because it is something that you agree to when you participate in the program. When you're communicating with your mentor, we do expect that you respond promptly to any requests that they have, that you are mindful of their schedules, and that they are participating in this experience voluntarily. So if they don't respond to you within a day or a couple of days, it is expected that you give them time to respond and you establish what is expected in terms of communication early on. And we do also expect that you are mindful of tone and professional email etiquette, especially in the initial stages when you're primarily communicating with them via email. If these are things that you have questions about, again, we have resources on our website to support you in working through them. From their end, we expect the same thing from them. We expect that they understand that you are all students and that many of you are going to be enrolled in full-time coursework, and that's going to take up a lot of your time. So we expect that they give you a little bit of courtesy in understanding that it may take you a day or two to respond to an email. We expect that they are reasonably responsive to you as well. And we expect that when they are providing feedback or critique, or again, engaging with you via email, that they are using appropriate etiquette in terms of tone and vocabulary and the kind of scope of the critique that they share. If at any point in time during the program you have questions about best professional practices for yourself or a concern about best professional practices from your mentor, we highly encourage you to reach out to us to check in. It's something that we really want to support students in developing and feeling comfortable with. And so we want to make ourselves available to support you in that way. But please note again that this is an expectation that we have on both parties, and something that we factor into future engagement points with creative careers if needed. Now, something that you will have access to if you choose to in completing all of the required aspects of the mentorship program by their original deadlines, as I previously mentioned, is the Learning Through Mentorship badge. This is a badge that you can add to your LinkedIn profile, to a resume if you choose to do so, that indicates that you participated in an ongoing application-based professional development experience through Art Center College of Design. It's something that you can access completely for free, and will be awarded to you again if you accomplish all of those required pieces by those deadlines. And it will be issued at the end of the program once we complete our kind of final celebration, and we've closed out the program, etc. I highly encourage you, if you're interested and you would like to add some additional credentialing, etc., to your resume or to your LinkedIn profile, to consider going for this particular badge or this opportunity. I think that it's a really nice way to kind of cap out and formalize your experience that you've gone to and be able to talk about it officially in something like a job or an internship interview as an experience that you were able to participate in and grow from. So, as we close out this kind of info session, and before we move into our chat with our amazing mentees, I want to highlight some important dates. Our applications are already open to students. They opened in spring week 12. We already have quite a number of applications in. The deadline for applications is June 15th. That's Monday of week 5. This is a hard deadline, and we won't accept any applications after this deadline. So please, 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 if you are interested in participating in the program, if you are interested in learning more about it or experiencing the application, I recommend starting or taking a look at it sooner rather than later. Then, between summer week 7 and 8, students who are accepted will start to receive their notifications, and the Creative Careers team will start our mentorship outreach. This is going to be something that solely happens on our end, so things will be a little bit silent in terms of communication for you, but we'll be working very hard behind the scenes to match accepted students with their preferred mentors, folks who are, within that professional identity of who they would like to meet with. In the break weeks between the summer and the fall term, between weeks 1 and 3, students will start to be introduced to their mentors via email. We will send you one email that tells you who your mentor is, and then a second email that introduces the two of you via email and kicks off your communication. So that'll be kind of a two-step process. Fall week 1, your mentorship program begins officially. And then fall week 10, the program will officially conclude. We will have a nice mentorship celebration experience where we get to say thank you to all of you for your time and your efforts in participating in the program. We have a nice little meal and some toasts, and it's a wonderful way to wrap up the program and everybody's experiences. And then following that, we will go through the badge issuing process and closing out the rest of the aspects of the program. If you choose to, and your mentor has the time and the availability, you are welcome to continue meeting with them or chatting with them after the conclusion of the formal mentorship experience in week 10. that is entirely up to you. It will just be, again, outside of our formal program. But we absolutely encourage you, if that's something that both of you are still able to do, to continue meeting with them and to continue to kind of nourish and grow that relationship. So again, big pieces here. Applications are due by June 15th. This is a hard deadline. We won't accept any applications after that. And we do recommend that you start sooner rather than later to get started on your application because we review the application very in depth and our entire acceptance process does rely on the strength of your responses to those essay questions. Now, I would love to welcome our two fantastic panelists today, Eunice and Megan. They are joining us having participated in the program last year. And I wanted to bring them in today to talk a little bit about their experience. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that everybody can see everybody nice and clearly. I'm going to be asking them some questions. And once we go through their experiences and they talk a little bit about their experience through the program and kind of what they liked and maybe something that they would change if they wanted to, we will have opportunity for any of you to ask questions that you have, go through any concerns that you have, or anything that we maybe did not touch on. And then we'll be wrapping up for the afternoon. So thank you so much, Eunice and Megan, for joining us today. I would like to kick off our first question. Can you both introduce yourselves and tell me what department you're in and then who your mentor was?
Which one of us? Okay, I'll just
You
Yeah.
can go first.
okay. Thank you, Megan. Yeah, and thank you so much to Creative Careers for having me on for this opportunity, and thank you all for joining. Um, I'm very excited to share about my experiences. And yeah, just to introduce myself, I'm Eunice Park. I just finished my sixth term this spring at Art Center, and I'm currently in the entertainment design department under the concept track specifically. And my mentor was Sarah Kajubu, who's currently a production manager at Sony.
Very cool. Well, hi everyone. My name is Megan. It's so cool that all of you guys could be here today and be stuck with us for the next hours, well, the next 30 minutes as we talk about our mentorship experiences. So as I said, my name is Megan. I just finished up my sixth term as well. So when I did the mentorship, I was in my fifth term. I'm illustration design, and my main passion is children's book illustration. So it was super duper cool that the mentor I was paired with, her name is Erin McGuire, and she has been working in uh, as a children's book illustrator for the last 10 years or so. So I was able to ask her a lot of really relevant questions.
Amazing. Thank you both so much. So my first question for you, and maybe we'll keep that order. We'll start with Eunice and then go to Megan for the questions, is what made you decide to apply for the program initially?
Yeah, so for me personally, last year I made the decision to change my career path from concept art to animation production. And following this decision, I looked at kind of the resources that I had during my time at Art Center until graduation, and most of the classes and the coursework that was offered within entertainment design and just within Art Center as a whole didn't really focus on production. And I wanted to get more in-depth experience or knowledge and advice from people who already had professional experience working in the industry in production. And so just to kind of learn more about that field and get advice on how I can kind of learn more about production and what kind of entails being like a good producer. And so I found out about the mentorship program through Eilish actually. And it seemed like a really wonderful opportunity to be mentored by someone who had a lot of production experience who could help me learn more. And yeah, I was selected and I was able to have the most wonderful experience with my mentor who had a lot of experience in production. And so yeah, ultimately applied because it was a great opportunity to kind of learn more about a field that wasn't necessarily traditionally offered at Art Center. But I was able to still learn about that field through a specific mentor.
Amazing. Thank you.
As for me, I initially heard about the mentorship program through the new student orientation because I'm a transfer student, and so I technically started Art Center as a fourth term student because I had a lot of transfer credits, and so I just really wanted to hit the ground running and really focus on my career and really think about like getting professional experience and fine tuning professional materials because I had a significantly shorter amount of time at Art Center. And so it was something that I had on my radar when I first applied or when I first started at the school. And I've always been very interested in children's book illustration and looking ahead at the required courses I'd be taking as an illustration student. Only one class was children's book illustration. And while one class, you can cover a lot in one class, I just really wanted time to go to get like a very in-depth knowledge about illustration, not just the artistic side of it, but I really wanted to focus on like the technical side of like what does working as an illustrator, as a children's book illustrator actually look like? What is the finance side? How much do you like what are usual like commission costs? How does it look like working with a publisher and with like a graphic designer um, through a publisher? And so really wanted to learn more about the logistical side of illustration. And and I was able to do that through my mentorship. So that was really cool. So that was really why I was interested in the mentorship. Is just yes, at Art Center I have a great opportunity to really fine tune and hone my artistic skills, but I wanted an opportunity to really fine tune like my business side and the more technical understanding of working as an illustrator, not just doing art.
Amazing. I something that I am very impressed with for both of you, having met with you previously, having worked with you on your applications as well, was how much foresight you had to look into your degree programs further along and say, here's what I know I'm going to learn, and here is what is kind of missing from my academic experience. And that is what I would like the mentorship program to, so to speak, fill in for me. I think that that's a really amazing way to approach the program and also a really amazing way to take advantage of um, developing further understanding into a creative path that maybe exists outside of the traditional scope of work that we work on at Art Center, right? There are so many ways that we can use our creative skills, our technical skills, etc. But to be able to access how to go about that isn't always as easy within our programs themselves. So I'm so glad that both of you were able to kind of have the foresight and the reflection to see, okay, I think I want to develop this skill set in this really unique way. Wonderful. So, my next question for you is, what advice do you have for students who want to apply on completing their application? Was there anything in particular that was really helpful for you? Was there something that kind of tripped you up and that you wish you had thought of in advance? Just any recommendations that you have.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. So I would say, adding on to everything that was already mentioned, in the info session, because yeah, I think, just like the general advice that was given is very helpful. But I would say, first off, be very specific in what you want. I know this was mentioned, but I do have to reiterate it. I would say the more specific you are about what you're looking for in the mentorship program and what you want to get out of it is better. Like the more you add, the better. Since this program in Creative Careers ultimately wants to kind of help you first and foremost. And so yeah, the more information, the better we will be able to like match you to a mentor that fits your needs. And how I kind of approached the application was to see it almost as like an interview, I would say. Kind of, I would really like, I focused on explaining why I wanted the mentorship. And I would say when you're submitting your application questions, especially the essay portions or the written part, I would mention like what makes you stand out, especially what can you take away from the program and how it will benefit you. And I think a good way that to kind of reflect on these questions is to put yourself in the shoes of whoever is viewing your application. So kind of think like, oh, if I were the one who was reviewing your applications, then what would make like what kind of answer would I want to see? Like what kind of answer would I want to would I look at and be, wow, like this is very reflective. Like I can kind of see what this person wants and what like I can build a profile of this person's application. So yeah, just kind of building your application so that it represents yourself the best and very thoroughly would be my biggest advice. And also, don't ever hesitate to reach out to Creative Careers throughout the application process. When I was applying, I met with Creative Careers to get a review of my application. And so, if you guys haven't already and you are interested in applying, then I would not hesitate to reach out and book an appointment with Eilish or Kayla, who are part of Creative Careers, to just get a review of your application.
So in when I was applying, I think I met with you, Eilish, twice in the process of the application. So the first time I met with Eilish was I had like a really rough draft of all my answers for the application, just really rough, like bullet points. And Eilish and I we had like a pretty in-depth conversation about how specifically to answer all these questions because I feel like in my first rough draft, I was thinking my answers were definitely not specific enough, and they were like a little bit like all over the place. So having that first meeting to what when I'm still in like the very bare bones of the application was really helpful. And then I had a second meeting, I think, right before I submitted my application to just go over um, my my answers once more to really fine tune and sharpen them and make them very specific to what I was looking for. So highly recommend scheduling a meeting sooner rather than later so that you really know how to answer these questions. Because I feel that Creative Careers is looking for a very specific answer, or not a specific answer, but a specific way how to answer these questions. So getting a meeting sooner rather than later is really beneficial. What really helped me answer these questions is thinking about that the mentorship program is an additional experience outside of your art center education. So how can a mentorship augment your experience? Like what is different about the mentorship that you can't get in your education at Art Center? Why and and um and how could the mentorship fulfill those needs? So it is very separate from your education at Art Center. Um, separate and also very connected because it's you're working with a creative professional. So you're maybe not thinking as much about like, oh, they'll give me assignments and I'll learn better technical skills, technical drawing skills. It's more your professional career um, and thinking again more about like the financial side, the networking side of what it looks like to work and live as an artist. So think about what you're getting as a student at Art Center and what you're missing in your education and how could a mentorship fulfill what's missing in your education.
Amazing. Thank you both. I love both of your answers, and I think that you have both hit on something that I will highlight, which is the importance of being reflective, right? I mentioned this previously, but I think it bears answering again. Eunice mentioned thinking reflectively about what you would want to see hypothetically if you were a mentor, what types of information, what types of hypothetical mentee characteristics would you want to see? Basically, how would you want what would you want to know about somebody in order to consider mentoring them? And then Megan mentioned reflecting on, what are some ways that this opportunity can augment the experience that I'm having in the classroom at Art Center? What does my degree program look like? And what maybe am I not going to get inherently in my degree program? And I think that both of these are hugely, hugely important. Um, Also, going through this process, both of these types of reflections, how would I want to be approached were I in this professional position? And how can I assess what I already have access to and how this will help me access new pieces of information, new areas of professional growth? Are things that are amazing to practice now because you will apply them over and over again throughout your professional experiences, right? So, if this is maybe the first time that you're doing both of these things for this mentorship program application, that experience will serve you in multitudes as you move forward through the rest of your time at Art Center and following your graduation in the professional world. So, thank you both. I completely agree with both of those statements. Okay, my next question for you is in a couple of sentences. I know that it's very hard to wrap it up this way, but in a couple of sentences, how would you describe your experience in the program?
Mhm. So, yeah, I can honestly go on and on about my experience because it was really like honestly very formative for my like professional experience and my time here at Art Center. Yeah, I was matched to Sarah, who was a mentor who fit my needs almost like exactly the way I mentioned it in my application. And I learned so much about like the world of animation production and even beyond just what's expected in the industry as a whole and just like even the basics of being in animation. I learned everything from just the overview to the like itty bitty parts of animation production like Gantt sheets and like time scheduling and like just learning how to communicate with people. And I would say for like the logistical side, yeah, I met with my mentor every week for around an hour, and I did have to be a little flexible because my mentor was very busy with her like work schedule, and so I think that is something that you definitely do discuss with your mentor in the beginning. But yeah, overall, I will just say like honestly, like the mentorship program opportunity was like life-changing for me. It's probably like the most beneficial thing I've done so far at Art Center because not like I was able to gain so much like knowledge and hands-on insight from my mentor specifically. And she also opened up a lot of opportunities for me professionally, which I'm super grateful for. Like I was able to be connected to other professionals who were in the fields that I was interested in. And I got to apply a lot of my knowledge and the experience that I gained from Sarah into my time at Art Center. Since around the same time, I also started to volunteer as a producer for some Art Center like capstone films, and so. Yeah, a lot of like what Sarah taught me was very, very informative. And it's something that honestly, like if I didn't partake in the program, then I feel like my like where I am right now and where I would have been without the program are very drastically different because so much of what I learned from Sarah was just so invaluable to my learning experience. And yeah, I'm super grateful for to Sarah and to the Creative Careers for this wonderful opportunity. So yeah, I could go on and on, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm in pretty much the same spot as Eunice. I feel like I could go on and on. I just about just how beneficial ha going through the mentorship program is. But in a couple sentences, uh, really. really helpful and also really timely as well. I feel that as beneficial it is to do it at like the end of your education, also doing it like towards the beginning. So I did it in my fifth term, so just over halfway through my time at Art Center. I feel that getting it early on so that you're starting to think about like, okay, like once I graduate, I'm gonna have to do these things. How can I start getting to that spot so the term when I graduate, I'm not super stressed about absolutely everything. So just really starting to think ahead was really, really beneficial and just getting a better understanding again of like what it looks like to actually live and work as an illustrator. And it was so cool because she shared a ton of resources with me. Um, we were talking about like how to find an agent as an illustrator, and she shared resources on that. We talked about invoices, and she shared one of like a blank invoice form with me, and then starting to build a networking or just starting to promote myself as an artist. So she shared like a ton of emails of different art directors who work at various publishing houses. So just getting started now is really, really great. But overall, super helpful, super beneficial. I feel so much more prepared now to graduate and to get my foot in the door in children's book illustration than I did before. So highly, highly recommend it.
Amazing. Thank you both. I also want to highlight something that we didn't mention previously, but I think is a great opportunity to bring this up. So, Megan, you were paired with a mentor who was from your mentor preferences list. That was something that was able to work out well. Eunice, can you remind me, was Sarah in your mentor preferences list, or was she somebody that Creative Careers identified?
Yeah, I think she was yeah, she was someone that Creative Careers identified, but it was like it was almost like a perfect like one-on-one match. Yeah.
Amazing. So, this is a really great opportunity for me to just mention your mentor preferences list. We're very excited to start there when we're working through the matching process. And in situations like Megan's, where it works out that your mentor is available and excited to mentor, we are thrilled to facilitate that opportunity. However, there are going to be some circumstances like Eunice's experience where, Eunice, you kind of had to be a little bit open to somebody who was not on your original list, but who had a lot of the qualities that were communicated to us through the list that you provided. And that's why it's really important to think very critically about that list of mentor preferences because they're communicating to us a lot of professional and personal skills that we're going to use to match you ideally with one of them, but if not, with another amazing creative professional. And then subsequently, again, it requires a little bit of openness and flexibility to consider somebody slightly different and be able to say, this isn't maybe exactly who I pictured, but I think that I can learn a lot from their experiences and benefit from this connection and relationship regardless. So thank you. My last question for you guys before we uh, kick us back to questions from our attendees today is very quickly, what advice would you have for making the most of your time with your mentor?
Mhm. So I will say, from my experience, don't hesitate to reach out and ask questions, or just don't hesitate to reach out and all. The mentorship, I think, gives like a very great opportunity, to meet with someone who was matched to your needs specifically. And so you don't want to take this for granted because it's not an opportunity that comes by very commonly. I would say be eager to learn as much as you can. I reached out to my mentor beyond like our scheduled meeting times, and throughout the week. And even though she's very busy, yeah, you do have to you do have to consider that your mentors are busy and this is like a volunteer experience. So do leave some like leeway for time. In terms of like responses, but yeah, like Sarah, she would regularly respond to my emails, and like the communication was very open and transparent. And so, if there's any questions or if there's anything you want answered or anything that you want to get out of the mentorship, make sure that you like fulfill that. Like make sure you reach out for that opportunity. Like I'll say don't leave the mentorship with any regrets. You want to leave like you're like fulfilled. Um, and I will also just say, this was mentioned earlier, but just be respectful and be professional as well. Since you don't want to leave a bad impression. You want to leave a good impression on your mentor since they are working in the field that they're working closely or will be working in the fields that you're interested in. So you do want to leave a good impression since they also will be opening up opportunities for you outside of their network as well. And so you want to keep an open mind. And I will also say, tiny note, make sure you're on time to your meetings as well. That
Mhm.
is a tiny thing, but it will leave a really big impression. And yeah, just remember that this can be a long-term connection in the future. And I'm still in contact with Sarah to this day, and so um, just be mindful of this time that you have with your mentor, and yeah, just honestly have fun, be open to learn, and yeah, just have a great time.
Yeah, to add on to that, definitely be curious, be willing to ask questions, and if there's something that you are like unsure about, that's a really great spot to ask a question to your mentor. And sometimes it's like, I like you kind of feel that you already should know the answer to that question. But again, like if there's something that you are uncertain about, really do ask that to your mentor. Like for me, the logistics of like working with an agent and like an art agent actually does for you, that was a really big gray area that I was very confused about. And so several times throughout the mentorship, we Aaron and I we talked about like what what the role of an agent is, like how they promote your work as an illustrator. And it was it was something that I was continuously confused by. So it was something that we continuously talked about. So just again, if it's something that you don't know how to approach, just ask your mentor. That's why they're there. And another thing that I felt really helped is just I made pretty extensive notes during our meetings, and um, each week before our weekly meeting, I would go through all of my notes and I would like highlight areas that I was still confused by, and I would make like a list of questions based off of our what we already talked, to to like deepen our discussions on those talking points. So just because again, you're working with a professional who has been working within the industry for 10 or something years, and they know so much. And when you're talking with them, it's a little bit like information overload, and you're trying to remember what questions to ask. And so it's a lot of information. So taking notes and then being able to look back at those notes and be like, oh wait, I'm still kind of confused about this. Like I'm going to ask to a couple questions about this point during the next meeting. That was really, really helpful. So take good notes.
Amazing. Thank you both so much for your time and for your amazing answers to my questions. I am so grateful to both of you for being here today. And we just really appreciate all of your insight. I think that it is absolutely invaluable to hear from folks who have participated in the program previously and their experiences. So we are almost at our time today. So anybody who has to leave at 1, um, please feel free to head on out. But I would like to open the floor to any brief questions that anybody has. And I'm also going to share a direct link to the mentorship program page and application on the Creative Careers website. I've just dropped it in the chat for anybody who maybe has not seen the page or the application yet. You can find it directly there. You're welcome to drop a question into the chat or unmute yourself and ask out loud if you would like to do so. And I will try to answer as many questions as I can with the time that we have left.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Uh, I already like submitted my application, so I don't think I can like ask any questions about that because I already submitted it. But I was wondering just just to make sure, because I'm on a leave of absence right now for the summer. So technically like uh I'm not like attending the school. Am I st but I'm gonna come back in the fall. So am I still allowed to be part of the mentorship?
Yes, absolutely. We just ask that students be enrolled or attending Art Center in the fall term when they are going to be participating in the mentorship. And if you are on a leave of absence, but you are still an Art Center student, then you can participate as well.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? Okay, so we have a question for the panelists, and I want to be mindful of your time. So if either of you have to head out, no pressure. But the question is, how did you approach scheduling, and how did your mentors tackle what they taught you? What were expectations or assignments, and what might they have asked you to do? I think that those are a lot of kind of very big picture questions, and the answers to those can be quite extensive. But if you wanted to just talk very briefly about how you approached scheduling and kind of the expectations of what you brought to each meeting, that would be really helpful.
Oh, Megan, do you want to go first, or
I
I'm
well,
open for anything.
if you want to go first, that's fine
Mhm.
by me.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, so thank you for the question. I'll say in terms of scheduling with my mentor, her schedule would change very I had to be a little more flexible. So our meeting times each week wasn't like concrete just because she has like a lot of impromptu meetings. Um, that it's like a very common thing with production. It's just a lot of meetings. And so sometimes I'd have to push back or we'd have to reschedule for another day. But we always made sure to meet every week. And I think that is the general expectation for your mentor as well as and for you as well. And in terms of what my mentors taught, I think for me personally, I would kind of show them my materials. So like the production sheets that I was currently developing for my productions. And then I'd kind of show them to her and I'd get advice on how I can better like organize or how I could better schedule or if there's like a specific task that needed to be rescheduled, then yeah, she kind of showed me like what was most efficient and what would be working best. And she didn't assign me anything. Like there was no homework from Sarah, but I think I don't know if that is something that mentors assign, but if they do, then I do think it is a good opportunity to learn outside of your current like curriculum. Um, and yeah, I just think expectation wise, it's just to like they at least for me, my mentor gave a lot of advice on what I could do to better to like better organize my production like schedules and communicate with people. And so I would just kind of take her advice and then like apply that to my time at Art Center. And so I think that was just the expectation is to just be open to learn and yeah, just take a lot from just try to gain as much knowledge as you can from your mentor during your time.
Yeah, I'd say it was roughly the same for me as well. I was kind of hoping that through my mentorship that I would have time to kind of go through like some like illustration assignments. But I just was really, really swamped last fall. And so instead, I got a lot of feedback on my on a couple like class assignments, and we just like talk a little bit about like how can I use my class assignments and kind of gear them more towards children's book illustration. But there wasn't any like assignments that we did that I did for the mentorship. It was mainly that we would just start talking and go off on a lot of different tangents about like different areas within the children's book industry. A lot of it, like, there were some things that like were more scheduled, that like she had a couple presentations that she'd given at other events and talks, and so we did kind of plan when we were going to talk about those things, but a lot of it was just that we would start talking about something and then we'd go off on tangents and like really go into like the nitty-gritty details of certain things. So it was professional, but it was on like the casual side of professional, which was really nice that that we were able to have like a deep discussion about a lot of different things. But it was really great. And then as for scheduling, Erin was pretty busy as well, even though she's a freelance illustrator. So hypothetically, you would think her schedule is a little open. She was also she teaches as well, which is really cool. And she has a young child, and so the figuring out when to meet was a little bit all over the place, but usually we'd either meet on like a Monday or a Friday morning. But we'd communicate over email what time would be the best for us to meet that week, and then we'd meet over Google Meet. Uh, so it was a little bit chaotic, but in the best way.
Amazing. Thank you. What I'll add to this very quickly is that we don't have the expectation as a department and as folks who are facilitating the program that there are kind of specific assignments, if this makes sense. If one of your goals as a mentee is to work on a particular project or accomplish a specific thing, like a specific assignment type um, end goal, that's something that we really encourage you to include, to think about, and then include in your application, and then to discuss in depth with your mentor in the first week, that kind of meet and greet period, so that you can identify the scope and the scale to which they can support you with that thing. We don't necessarily recommend that you approach the program as an opportunity to kind of like rehab a project or develop something for your portfolio, because that's something that ideally you should be doing in the classroom at Art Center as much as possible. However, we know that that sometimes does happen in mentorship experiences. And so we just encourage you to kind of think about what assignments look like for you, what would be helpful for you, and then to communicate in depth with your mentor about what is within their bandwidth and their capacity to develop kind of a shared vision of that goal and that schedule and that process throughout the program. So, Catherine, I hope that that provides a multifaceted series of answers to that question. We did have another question in the chat. Are we allowed to submit a portfolio as a PDF? No, we do request that your portfolio be submitted as either a self-standing portfolio website. We do accept Behance or ArtStation profiles, but we really encourage you to have your portfolio online as much as possible. And that is something that we will be expecting and is outlined in the application, which I linked above. All right. I think we have time for potentially one more question, if anyone has one. Again, feel free to unmute yourself and ask out loud, or you can drop it in the chat if you have it. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today. Thank you to our amazing panelists for volunteering their time. I appreciate you both so much, and I think that you are both amazing candidates for the mentorship program and wonderful kind of instances of the mentorship program being a really fruitful experience. So I'm so glad that you both were able to share your experiences today. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody for joining us. Again, I'm going to drop a link to our resource page for the mentorship program on the Creative Careers website. You can find the application there. Please keep in mind that hard deadline of June 15th. If you have any questions about the application, etc., please feel free to reach out to the Creative Careers team. We would love to answer questions that you have. I hope that everybody has a great rest of their week. And I hope to be reading your applications and chatting through the program with you sometime in the very near future. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.